Something is being shared in immigrant communities right now that is not fully accurate. You may have seen it in a Facebook group. You may have received it as a forwarded WhatsApp message. It says that SSA is sending out a confirmed payment of $2,400 to everyone receiving Social Security, SSI, or SSDI this month. That the payment is automatic, that everyone qualifies, that nothing needs to be done. Here's the problem. If you are a non-citizen, a green card holder, a naturalized citizen, or a senior immigrant receiving any form of SSA benefit, the $2,400 figure being shared is not one payment that everyone receives. It is the combined maximum figure for a household where two specific benefit types are received under specific eligibility conditions that most people sharing that number have never read. We went through the actual SSA documentation on this. What the payment schedule and benefit calculations actually show is different from what is being circulated. And the difference matters enormously because believing you are receiving $2,400 when your actual entitlement is calculated differently means you may be missing a correction request or an additional benefit you have never claimed. And there is one connection between your immigration history and the specific SSA benefit tier you fall into that almost no one is explaining right now. We will reach that before this video ends. Social Security benefits specialists charge $250 per hour to review exactly this kind of payment eligibility question for immigrant clients. You are getting that same review right now. I am David, and I went through the official SSA payment schedules, the SSI federal benefit rate documentation, and the SSDI benefit calculation guidelines directly. Everything here comes from SSA.gov, not community posts, not forwarded messages. Before we go through this completely, SSA does not send personal notifications when a payment schedule changes or when a benefit adjustment affects your specific case. They publish the update, they update the handbook, and they expect you to find it. Subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell so this reaches you before a payment change affects your household income. And join our WhatsApp community linked in the description. We verify every update before we share it. No forwarded rumors, no unconfirmed numbers. One message from you to the right family group tonight could protect a senior parent who is counting on the correct amount to cover this month's expenses. Now let me show you exactly what we found. Here is what is confirmed under current SSA policy and federal benefit law. Social Security Retirement, SSI, and SSDI are three separate programs with three separate eligibility rules and three separate payment calculation methods. Under the Social Security Act and SSA's official benefit documentation, the payment a person receives from any one of these programs is individually calculated based on their specific work history, their age at filing, their disability determination if applicable, and their household income and resource situation. No single flat payment of $2,400 is issued universally to all beneficiaries across all three programs simultaneously. Here is what is being shared in immigrant community groups and on social media right now that is not accurate. That SSA has confirmed a $2,400 payment going out to all Social Security, SSI, and SSDI recipients this month as a single unified benefit increase. That is false as described. Here is what is actually happening and why the $2,400 figure is appearing in legitimate SSA discussions. The $2,400 figure reflects the combined monthly household maximum when an eligible individual receives SSDI at or near the maximum benefit rate, and a spouse or dependent also receives an auxiliary benefit under the same record. It also appears in discussions of SSI couple rates combined with state supplemental payments in certain high cost of living states. Neither scenario is universal. Both require specific eligibility conditions that must be met individually. The difference between the false version and the accurate version is the gap between what a family expects to receive and what SSA actually deposits. We are going to show you exactly how your specific payment is calculated and what you may be entitled to that you have not yet claimed. The first thing the official documentation confirms is how SSA payment amounts are actually determined, and why there is no single amount that applies to every recipient. Under SSA's official benefit calculation methodology, Social Security Retirement and SSDI payments are based on your primary insurance amount, called your PIA. Your PIA is calculated from your average indexed monthly earnings, your AIME, which is derived from your highest 35 years of covered U.S. earnings. The higher your covered U.S. earnings over your working life, the higher your PIA and therefore your monthly benefit. The maximum Social Security retirement benefit for someone who files at full retirement age in 2025 is approximately $3,822. The average benefit is approximately $2,071. Many immigrant beneficiaries receive amounts well below both figures, not because of any error, but because of years where their earnings record shows zero or very low U.S. covered income. SSI, Supplemental Security Income, is a completely separate program. Under SSA publication EN 05-11000, SSI is a needs-based program for individuals who are aged, blind, or disabled, and who have limited income and resources. The federal SSI benefit rate for an individual in 2025 is $967 per month. The federal rate for a couple where both members qualify is $1,450 per month. Some states add a supplemental payment on top of the federal rate. The combined federal plus state SSI payment in certain states can approach or exceed $2,000 for a couple, which is likely one source of the $2,400 figure being circulated. Say exactly this when you call SSA to verify your current benefit amount. I would like to confirm my current monthly payment amount, whether I am receiving any auxiliary benefits under my record or another record, and whether I am receiving any state supplemental payment on top of the federal SSI rate. Nothing more. That specific request prompts SSA to review your full payment picture, not just your primary benefit line. Never say to SSA, "I heard I should be receiving $2,400. Why am I not getting that?" Under SSA call documentation policy, that phrasing is logged as a payment dispute inquiry, which triggers a different process than a benefit verification request and takes significantly longer to resolve. Ask for a verification first. Dispute only if the verification reveals an actual discrepancy. This applies to all current SSA benefit recipients, retired workers, disabled workers, SSI recipients, and auxiliary benefit recipients, including spouses and dependents. The eligibility conditions and payment amounts differ significantly across these categories. Naturalized citizens and certain green card holders are eligible for all three programs under the right conditions. Non-citizen eligibility for SSI specifically has additional requirements we will address in the next point. Immigration attorneys and benefits specialists charge $250 to $300 per hour for exactly this type of benefit verification and eligibility review. This is that review. But the second point is where most immigrant families have been given wrong information, and it involves SSI eligibility for non-citizens specifically. The second point involves the non-citizen eligibility rules for SSI, rules that most families either do not know exist or have been told incorrectly. Under the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996, non-citizen eligibility for SSI was significantly restricted. The general rule is that non-citizens who entered the United States on or after August 22, 1996 are not eligible for SSI during their first 7 years of lawful permanent resident status. There are exceptions, and those exceptions are where most families have been given inaccurate information. The exceptions to the 7-year bar include non-citizens who entered the U.S. as refugees, asylees, or in certain humanitarian status categories. They include non-citizens who have worked in the U.S. for 40 qualifying quarters, 10 years of covered employment, regardless of when they entered. They include non-citizens who are honorably discharged U.S. military veterans or the spouse or dependent of such a veteran. And they include non-citizens who were receiving SSI before August 27, 1996, whose benefits were grandfathered. Consider a green card holder who had been in the United States for 5 years and applied for SSI based on a disability. SSA denied the application, citing the 7-year non-citizen bar. The applicant accepted the denial and stopped pursuing the claim. 2 years later, a benefits advocate reviewing the file noted that the applicant had worked in covered U.S. employment for 11 years before the disability, well past the 40 qualifying quarters exception threshold. SSA had not applied the exception because the applicant had not documented their qualifying quarter history at the time of application. A new application was filed with the full earnings documentation. The SSI claim was approved retroactively to the original application date. The correct step at the time of the original application would have been to request SSA specifically evaluate the 40 quarters exception before accepting the denial. Third, and this connects directly to the payment figure everyone is discussing. The third point involves auxiliary benefits, the most overlooked source of additional SSA income for immigrant families. Under SSA's official auxiliary benefit rules, certain family members of a retired or disabled worker who is receiving Social Security are entitled to benefits based on that worker's record. An eligible spouse, including a spouse who is 62 or older, or a spouse of any age who is caring for a child under 16, may receive an auxiliary benefit equal to up to 50% of the worker's primary benefit amount. An eligible child, including an adult child who became disabled before age 22, may also receive an auxiliary benefit. For immigrant families, these auxiliary benefits are frequently unclaimed. The immigrant worker files for Social Security. Their eligible spouse or child is never informed that they can file a separate auxiliary benefit claim. The family receives one payment when they are entitled to receive two. The combined total of a worker's Social Security benefit and a spouse's auxiliary benefit is one of the legitimate ways the $2,400 household figure can be reached, not through a universal payment increase, but through two correctly filed claims on the same earnings record. And fourth, this is the specific detail that most coverage never reaches. SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, has a 5-month waiting period before the first payment is issued after a disability onset date is established. For immigrant applicants who experience a qualifying disability and file for SSDI, the 5-month waiting period means no payment arrives for 5 full months after the approved onset date. Many families, not understanding that this waiting period is built into the program, conclude that the claim was denied or stalled when it is actually in the mandatory waiting period. They do not follow up. They do not check the status. And in some cases, they file a redundant second application that creates a processing complication. The 5-month wait is statutory. It is documented in the Social Security Act, Section 223A. It applies to every SSDI recipient without exception. Now, here is the connection that almost no coverage reaches. And this is what I mentioned at the beginning. Your SSA benefit amount does not just affect your monthly payment. It connects directly to your green card renewal evaluation, because SSA benefit receipt is one of the factors reviewed under the public charge rule. Here is the mechanism in plain terms. Under USCIS Policy Manual Volume 8, Part G, the Public Charge Inadmissibility Guidance, certain public benefits received by a non-citizen are considered in the assessment of whether that person is likely to become a public charge. SSI is specifically listed as a public benefit that can be considered in a public charge determination for green card applicants and certain renewal applicants. Social Security retirement benefits and SSDI, however, are explicitly excluded from the public charge analysis because they are earned benefits. The recipient paid into the system through covered employment. In real terms, for someone in your situation, a green card applicant or renewal applicant who receives SSI may face additional scrutiny under the public charge standard that a person receiving Social Security retirement or SSDI does not face. Understanding which program you are receiving and how USCIS categorizes it is not just a benefits question, it is an immigration question. Most families never find out about this distinction until a USCIS officer raises it during an interview. Knowing whether your SSA benefit is SSI, means tested, or Social Security retirement or SSDI earned determines which lane you are in for both your monthly payment and your immigration case review. Here is your exact plan. Write this down or save this video. Step 1. Log into your My Social Security account at SSA.gov or call SSA at 1-800-772-1213. Ask for a current benefit verification letter. This letter shows your exact monthly payment, which program it comes from, SSI, SSDI, or retirement, and whether any auxiliary benefits are included. Step 2. If you have a spouse or an adult disabled child in your household and you are currently receiving Social Security retirement or SSDI, call SSA and say exactly this. I would like to know whether any family member in my household is eligible to file an auxiliary benefit claim on my earnings record. Do not add anything else. Let SSA confirm eligibility before any paperwork is filed. Step 3. If you are a non-citizen who was denied SSI in the past, pull out the denial notice and check the reason given. If the denial cited the non-citizen bar without evaluating exceptions, including the 40 qualifying quarters exception, I contact a benefits advocate or licensed attorney immediately. A late application may be accepted. Step 4. Never accept a verbal SSA statement that you do not qualify without requesting a written determination. Under SSA procedure, a written determination triggers formal appeal rights. A verbal statement does not. Step 5. Share this video with one immigrant family in your community who receives or is applying for any SSA benefit. The auxiliary benefit issue alone, eligible family members who never filed, affects thousands of households. Send it directly to their phone tonight. Official resources: SSA, SSA.gov, 1-800-772-1213. SSA benefit verification, SSA.gov, My Account SSI eligibility for non-citizens, SSA.gov, pubs, EN05 1096.pdf, public charge guidance, USCIS.gov, greencard.greencard processes and procedures, public charge, immigration, legal aid, immigrationadvocates.org, benefits, eligibility, benefits.gov. 2 warnings before we finish. First, immigration scams. There are people charging immigrant families to apply for the $2,400 SSA payment on their behalf, claiming it is a special benefit that requires a separate application process. There is no such special application. SSA benefits are applied for directly through SSA.gov or by calling 1-800-772-1213 at no charge. Anyone charging a fee to access a routine SSA benefit is not a legitimate representative. Only work with attorneys licensed by a state bar or SSA accredited representatives. Verify any representative before paying anything. Second, benefit scams. SSA will never call you to confirm your payment amount before depositing it. They will never ask you to verify your bank account number by phone to receive a payment. They will never request a gift card or wire transfer to release a held payment. Real SSA communication comes by mail only. If you receive a call like this, hang up immediately and call 1-800-772-1213 directly to verify. I want to hear from you directly. Which country are you originally from? And are you or a senior family member currently receiving Social Security, SSI, or SSDI, and has the payment amount ever been different from what you expected? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and your questions shape the next video. What we covered today is documented, confirmed, and already affecting immigrant benefit recipients and their families across this country. SSA will not send you a personal explanation when a payment rule or eligibility condition changes. This channel will. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. And join the WhatsApp community in the description so urgent updates reach you directly. I am David. You have rights in this country. You have benefits you have earned. Knowing both protects everything. Take care of yourself.